Okay. Really easy today, guys. We're going to run under a little assumption that we've got the mount position, or the mount position, and we're going to be looking at upgrading the mount position to cross body mount and attack and defense. This is a pretty easy system, and we're going to run through on what the most common reactions are, and based on the most common reactions. So I'll just grab Steve up on that, please. So just for the purpose of today, I'm going to be playing more of a defensive mechanic. So I'm more worried about the chokes and that, so I'm not necessarily going through for the hip escape. I'm kind of trying to get my elbows onto the inside, right? So let me explain, is if I go to the frame system, but my elbows are wide and out, it's easy for Steve to cycle behind the elbow to attack for the armbar, etc., etc. So one of the things I want to do is I want to try and get my elbows on the inside of his legs, first of all. So Steve's going to use his hand and he's going to push my wrist to the ground like a kimura. Now, if you think about this, so this is a really interesting concept. If Steve uses his left hand to set the kimura up, a lot of the time that people would try to roll out the kimura by rolling and exposing their elbow, right? Which there's nothing wrong with that. The second way that they're going to try and escape it, the second major way, is that they're going to try and pull the arm in to rescue, so to go to the back side of the head. And the third way is that they're going to try and turn over and try and grab the hand. So that's the three major defenses to the kimura. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the first one, and this is the way we teach the kids because it's the most common reaction to it, is we go elbows on the inside, and as I'm trying to push, Steve goes to kimura. I use my free hand, I'll push the hip down, and I'll trap the back of the head. And what I'll try and do, think about this way, is the arm's caught, so I'm trying to bridge around my partner to my left, this side. Steve acknowledges this, so what Steve's going to do is, as he feels the tension, he's going to step up onto his right foot, nice and high. Boom, cycles around, so takes his foot to my armpit, and comes around, and we go to what we call cross body mount. The downfall about it is a lot of time they're going to be ready for this and they're going to be holding their hands together to defend the armbar. Right, this is a really common defensive mechanic. So we've got a couple of options, and this is the first option we're going to play. Is if you feel that my defenses are stronger than your attack, if you feel your defense, like my defenses are stronger, Steve's going to use his left hand to go underneath my head on the back side, and he's going to feed his thumb in. So he can use his right hand to open up my top collar, put his thumb in, nice. Okay, hand goes behind my head, single wing choke. Now, the choke's on. How do I break the choke? I push away. So you either continue with the bow and arrow choke, or the choke, or the armbar. So this sets up a really nice flow, a really nice attack system based on me defending it correctly. So let's just go through the small details. The first one that we're going to do is we're going to go to the single wing, and then we'll do the bow and arrow, then we'll do the armbar. Okay. If you guys jump that side, you're probably going to get a bit better view of the attack. Okay. And you stay there. So I frame, I wriggle, I put my hands on the inside. Steve recognises, pushes the hand down from here. So what I'm doing is I'll push the hip down and attack. Your foot comes under my armpit and you circle, so you're facing towards my hand, so your foot comes under my armpit. Boom, and turn, and I'm here, right? So I'm holding my hands together. So Steve's going to get his left hand under my head, right hand opens up the collar. Now, the key is, see your elbow, pull your elbow into your hip. So it's super tight. Punch your hand behind my head. Single wing. Let's start with that, guys. 1, 2, 3. Bow and arrow choke. Option 2, bow and arrow choke, is exactly the same setup. So Steve's back up and out. Okay, so once again, I'm trying to get my elbows onto the inside position. Steve attacks the kimura. Okay, one of the things I need you to do is I need you to use your hand to be pushing your partner so I can rescue. So this means two things. It saves my arm going behind Steve's head where he traps it, and I'm not pushing him sideways, I'm pushing down to my hips to get the space to rescue my arm. As I turn, Steve brings his foot, because he's already up, so brings his foot up. Turns, we go to the same position. I'm going to spin around this fraction. So we're in the same position. Once again, the major defense is I defend the armbar, Steve opens up the collar, thumb goes in. The most important part that I see people misunderstand about the bow and arrow choke is this elbow has to pull into your belt, because my escape mechanic is to try and slide down low and pop my head out of the choke. Right, so you pull the elbow in. As you're trying to do the first choke, which is a single wing, actually, I'm like, no, so I'm defending. So instead of being able to, and I generally bring my foot up nice and tight, your hand retracts and grabs the back of my gi pads. The closer to the knee, the better, because you get a better extension. Closer to the hip, you don't quite get to bend the bow. From here is this. One of the parts I see people saying is people sit down. So what you want to do is you treat it like an armbar. Your foot slides all the way to my armpit and you sit offside that way. So you've got a lot more pulling power on the bow and arrow. Where if you simply sit straight backwards on the bow and arrow, I've got the option to try and turn out of the choke. Where if you sit down forward, if I turn, it's pretty much going to put the choke on. So as we sit down, right, it's pull and pull. Right, so, you know, I'm not going to tap to this yet. Not because I'm stubborn, but it's not quite on. So kick your hamstring into my body to try and torque me so down and put the choke on. So the finishing mechanic is that you're trying to kick the body. Ideally, you're on that side of me, because to kick me that way gives you a far better choke, but it's still going to work even if I roll into my back. So once again, we're in the position. So open it up, feed the collar. Now elbow goes super tight. As you go for the single wing choke from here, I defend. So grab the back of the gi pads. Your foot slides under as deep as you can, 45 degrees backwards. Pop, 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 pull. Now, if I'm being stubborn, you can put your foot over my over as well. So bring your foot over, and that will give you 100% the arm bar, because my arm's fully isolated as well. So if you're flexible, you can bring your foot over. If you're not flexible, try and bring your foot over. You're choking him, so kicking in the face isn't going to do any difference. You know, you're choking him anyway. But have a quick shot at that, right? Just go in, come in, have your step. It's a really interesting point of view. Is like the choke hand, sometimes you feel that there's a lot of tension onto your wrist and it's too tight, it's hurting your wrist. So one of the biggest things I see people do is they do exactly what Steve's done. Not saying Steve's done wrong, he's just doing it for demonstration purposes. Is if you open up the collar first, so open up the collar, and what you're doing is people push the collar down to the hand, so it's not really a good choke, your hand over. Well, if you do the opposite, if you lift the collar up and get it, yes, like if you open it up and go as deep as you can, nice. So by default, there's no space behind my neck. Anyway, this is pretty much, I'm gonna lie, the choke's pretty much on already. That's great, keep it tense. Okay, so as you go to hand fighting, so go behind it. Now, if you sit backwards 45 degrees, you should feel that's gonna change the whole choke game. So the purpose of this isn't to punch the choke, the collar down, it's to open up so you can get a really good grip. And now it's more of a wrist and forearm, where here it's kind of just the collar. So the more that you get the bony structure, the better it's going to be for the choke. Good question, Steve. Nice one. Okay, everyone, new partners, 1, 2, 3. Well, you need to be able to do this one from it. So Steve, back up on that. Get this. We'll start. So we're going to start exactly the same position. So my elbows on the inside legs, trying to defend, hits the Kimura. First on the bottom, make sure you hit the hip. Turn, come over, and Steve's going to cycle to a body mount, nice and tight. Make sure your foot's in here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and create space or push. Think about it this way, right? And a lot of people get confused with this, and there's two major ways of doing it depending on how my partner reacts, right? One of the things I find, just me personally, is if I grab the arm with that here, I don't have a post mechanic, which is really easy for my partner to sit. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Okay. It's a good thing if you've got control of the arm. It's a bad thing if you don't have control of the arm. So what I find, the little detail is this: grab your collar, and exactly the same detail, throw your hand as high on the collar as you can. Now, what I find is if I'm strong, you instead bend down to get the collar. So if Steve puts his head up nice and high but releases the grip, if I said to grab your collar and everyone goes, I'll take my hand to the collar, like, you don't get a strong grip. Where you go post, grab your collar, nice. Hip escape, now it doesn't make any difference because you've got it. Two hands onto one, make this stronger. Ideally, your leg comes over my head. That would be the best mechanic. And just this a little bit of shits and giggles. Okay, so Emma, can you just turn the screen towards me a little bit? Okay, so what I see people do for me is if Steve does the armbar, so he puts the armbar on, I've got like a little bit of tensile grip strength that I can use. So I'm going to do what I call an earthquake armbar. So I'm going to release that fit a little bit, and what we're going to do is nice and lightly, because this is really embarrassing. You're going to pretend my head's a drum and that your hamstrings are drumsticks. So you're going to slowly kick by kick, bop, 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 to get the armbar. So I don't know if you've seen, there's a couple of videos going around with people doing this in tournaments and things like that. It's quite funny to watch. So even if I've got the grips from here, okay, the grip fighting, so my head is the drum, your hamstrings are drumsticks, kick, kick, and it helps break the grip. Number two, it's fucking, excuse my French, it's very embarrassing for the person underneath because like that. Number three, you're not losing position. Like it's just kind of sitting here. So once you're here, what I find is that the straighter your legs, the better. And kick, 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 so kick, 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 to isolate. So earthquake armbar, it's not new by any stretch of imagination. It got frowned on a little while ago. The main reason being is because a couple of the competitors had turned in and the hamstring was on their nose. It was not kicking, that one of them got a broken nose from it. You know, not his fault, I turned in, so it was kind of frowned upon like a dirty move. Me personally, I don't care, like it's like no difference in doing back checking, dropping my jaw down and going through my jaw. Okay, so up against Steve, so we'll run the system, so we're just going to go to the cross body mount. We've done perfect from here, and you've got the arm, so you post your left hand over the head, your right hand goes in nice and deep. Okay, you can now slide your left elbow across, right, as I hip escape or push off my face, whatever, bob, nice. And now straight away, earthquake armbar, so kick, 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 to get the arm. Right, so let's have a shot back, guys. 1, 2, 3, nice. So change partners, someone with Ian, a new partner. Thank you so much. So we did, we drilled this quite a fair bit coming up to a couple of tournaments, I remember myself, and I tend to finish with the cross collar choke more than the belly down, because people are defend, like they'll put their hand down and I'll get access to the collar. Emma's finished more with the belly down and made them look like, so you know, it's not right or wrong, it's just that there's sequences and events. Hands in, Emma does a Kimura. Okay, we're going to work on that. I'm going to roll towards Emma, so I roll towards Emma and I keep my hands in nice and tight. Now on this grip, if you have a look at this, it's super important that our fingers are on the palm so that it's very hard for me to kick out, right? And there's two things, right? Your foot is in the way and my elbow's in the way. So the first thing we do is we take your elbow over my head to roll me down. Secondly is your knee hits the ground so that you pin me down. I still can't get my hand out. I generally have my head facing one way, otherwise I'm going to hurt my neck. Your hand slowly slithers underneath the space. Get hold of the collar. Now, we did this, I think it was the Nationals, or maybe like 8 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I said to Emma, it was pretty much the most comical coaching in the entire world. Emma, stay there, the coach is going to tell them to get up onto their knees. Their coach, get up onto your knees. Emma and I look at each other like, so we're here. Hey Emma, stay there, the coach is going to tell them to get up onto the knees. Okay, their coach, hey, get up onto your knees. Okay, I'll get up onto my knees. And this is pretty much where the fight ended. Right, so when they go to the knees, feet go in and kick them out, hips go low. Yes. Don't go to the knees from that position. You roll through the thing, you don't go to your knees. But anyway, just honestly, it was one of the most, sorry if you're the coach or listening, watching, whatever. It was like, you had a couple of people next to me like, do you just tell him what is this? That's the most funny thing we've had. Well, actually, we've had a few instances like that. They're going to breach it 3, 2, 1, and they breach. It's like, okay. So, Kimura, just for argument's sake, I come through to rescue. So my hands on the inside position from here, and I hold super tight, and there's not much, so I'm hand fighting, can't get access to my collar this time. So it's not like we're holding hands really badly. You know what I mean? So it's palm in. And what that does, it makes my grip super weak, so I can't fight against it. Okay, so your knee goes down, elbow goes through, and if you can, prime your hand here already. Ideally, if I do come up, your both feet come in, kick your legs long, keep your hips down, and slowly pull. A lot of time from here, they're going to tap from the pressure anyway. It's a horrible position to be in, right? So belly down off the cross body mount. Awesome. Okay, Ian, come here. The cross body mount again. And so what happens is you're trying to get your right hand, so you opened up the collar, and I'm defending like I've trapped, so there's no way that you can get the hand through for the choke. So your hand goes to the back of the head and palm on the back of my head, but deep. Cool. Right. Now, what I see people do is they make the misunderstanding is they think to put the pressure, they straighten the arm. No, they straighten the arm, it allows me to rescue from here. So instead, you're going to use your palm to push my head down, so I'm here. Right. So you're like, good boy, good boy. So as deep as you can, push down from here. Once we're here, you can now change your grip over onto the hand, and we're in the same position again to take them belly down. So this is like you've done the correct thing. So you've got the collar, open up the collar, and I'm like, no, I'm doing that whole defense, like no way, no way, no way. So hand, good boy, but try not get the top of the bald spot. Oh, that's nice. Try and get like down by the neck.
Like a guillotine snap down.
Yeah, yeah, so that turns me from here. And then once you can, hand goes in, pull it down, and we're in the same position again to finish it. So it's exactly the same kind of concept. Just, we call it a good boy, like, good boy, back of the head. And it's a quarter Nelson technique on that. But the deeper you go, the better. And what I find for myself is if they're really strong, like they're framed up, put your knee behind your elbow. Drive you in, so that reinforces everything to come down, and now you can put your foot in nice and deep as well, and here you are. So that's a much better finishing mechanic as well. So if they are stronger, use your knee behind your elbow, and that will force them down. Absolute worst comes worse is you just switch it to the armbar, cushion, the perfect armbar position. Anyway. Yeah.
So I also have, if I get to this point here and they are too strong and I'm struggling to get this grip on the hand, I can't get it and I don't want to lose it, I change from my chest being here to being right behind the shoulder, I push forward. Now the hand comes out, which allows me to get it. So if you actually change your chest to being behind the shoulder, the hand comes out as well, which also.
Nice. Awesome. Just one last thing on what Emma said. If you do change your chest position and you grab the arm, for me, perfect. Sometimes it's actually, if I stop, roll backwards, and then you still have the control, you still choke, and still. So sometimes if you, or even if you're missing it and you're trying to force them one way and they've got their defenses up, just take them belly up instead of taking belly down. Okay, 3 minutes guys, just drill that one out and then we'll do some very, very light drilling. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, babe.